I finally crossed over, but I wore the wrong book. I am not the boss, nor is it the heroine of the abuse. I became the housekeeper of the boss. I just need to shout when the heroine appears. The young master hasn't laughed like this for a long time. Give you 5 million. Leave our young master. And when the boss abused the heroine, he replied, the young lady knows that she is wrong, and she regrets it. I didn't expect the male protagonist to come according to the script. When I was going to witness the crematorium where the boss chased his wife, and then served as a qualified backdrop next to it, Mr. Boss spoke, is she a woman disguised as a man? Dismissed. Immediately dismiss me. Don't you know that Lao Tzu has a phobia of women? No. Big brother. What? I'm also a woman dressed as a man. I'm Len Arnold, and I'm the butler of the boss. It's the butler who is in charge of saying, the young master hasn't laughed like this for a long time. In the company that day, Egbert Warner, the boss of the company, sat on the throne, with an evil and crazy face, and his thin lips pursed lightly. Butler, who are you looking for? As soon as I came in, I got wet in my top-of-the-line haute couture suit. I glanced up at the new secretary and heroine outside the office. I'm sorry, Egbert Warner. I'll reprimand the people below. Said in his heart, isn't that still your future wife? Abuse now. Wait for the crematorium to chase your wife in the future. Egbert Warner's face changed suddenly. He glanced at me, and his expression changed suddenly. Butler, what did you say? I looked the same as usual. Egbert Warner, I said that I will definitely reprimand the people below me well, and there will never be such a mistake in the future. No, I said the previous sentence. I was stunned for a moment. Egbert Warner, I don't understand what you mean. Egbert Warner's face was strange, and his usually moody face cracked a little. Forget it. Maybe I misheard. I frowned, thinking inexplicably. What? Can the boss still hear my heart now? It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. I, Len Arnold, have been serving Mr. Baugh from childhood to now, and Mr. Baugh has suffered from no more and no less, just 99 kinds of diseases, including female phobia, claustrophobia. Egbert Warner's expression gradually became strange, and he suddenly spoke. The secretary is a woman. I covered my mouth and looked at the boss with wide eyes. Egbert Warner, I didn't say it just now. The male protagonist Egbert Warner was furious, staring at me with a pair of scarlet eyes. Butler, call that secretary for me. The heroine was picked up like a little chick. She looked at us timidly with red eyes. Egbert Warner, my grandmother has terminal cancer, and is in dire need of money. I know you don't want girls in your company, but can you give me a chance? I really need money. I really didn't mean to. I am a capable. Egbert Warner was still so furious that he ripped through his soaked haute couture suit. Do you call it power? Do you know how much my haute couture suit costs? 300,000. A full 300,000. Do you know that 300,000 I have to work hard for 10 minutes? I pursed my lips and said in my heart, the evil capitalist. The richer he is, the more he picks up. The next step should be to order the heroine to repay the debt, and then the heroine has no money to repay. Let the heroine pay for it. I know Xiao Huangwen's routine. How do I know that? Mr. Baugh looked at me coldly, and waved his hand. Butler, shoot her for me. No. Big brother, what? How will the plot develop after the dismissal of the heroine? The boss asked people to throw out the heroine who was crying so much. He never worked overtime. He left work on time at the end of the day, and was driving his Maserati just about to leave. The heroine who was fired in the morning was driving past him, on a small bicycle at this moment. Mr. Baugh stopped. I used my 5.2 eyesight to see it really. The heroine's small bicycle and Maserati are a distance between the Huangpu River. The heroine just fell straight and straight. As soon as the boss was about to make a detour to leave, he saw the heroine trembling, and crawling to the front of the car cover. You overwhelmed me. According to my estimate, the male protagonist should put the female protagonist in the car next, and then take it home and take care of it, and then one night in the wind and rain, the two of them but who knows? Mr. Baugh put down the windshield and scolded angrily, touch porcelain. Don't come to cheat me out of my money. The heroine didn't give up. I'm injured. You have to take me to the hospital. Mr. Bay, I have a dash cam. Be careful that I sue you for fraud. The heroine's eyes widened, as if she didn't expect such a play. She clutched her handkerchief and stood in place. Butler, what are you doing in a daze? Drive. I nodded wildly and stepped on the accelerator, but I didn't expect the heroine to be chasing the bicycle in the back. Mom, the heroine is really dedicated. What's going on with this boss male protagonist? After returning to the 38,000 square kilometer villa of Bazong, and confirming that Bazong was not within 18,000 square meters, I began to search for my novel catalog. Actually, I'm also a woman dressed as a man, and my mission is great, in order to match the male and female protagonists of every book to be able to go on successfully. But this male protagonist is too strange. I don't know if I don't check. Shocked when you check it. It turns out that the male protagonist of this little yellow text has been messing around with burps before the female protagonist comes. Now it's a career male protagonist, who has a strong physique and concentrates on his career, borrowed from the next door group. No wonder I don't have a cold interest in the heroine. That's too bad. No way. This book is innocent 1v1 no male too. I had to go out myself. I took advantage of the fact that the boss was not paying attention, packed a generous gift, wore a suit and leather shoes, and personally gave a gift to the heroine. This is our Egbert Warner's apologies to you, and we hope you don't take it personally. The heroine, Bonnie Bernal, looked at me with slightly red eyes. Thank you. I coughed, remembered the heroine's predicament, and said, we already know about your grandmother's cancer, Egbert Warner, and he has sent someone to send your grandmother to the best hospital, and we will pay for the treatment. In order to reflect the boss, I emphasized, we Egbert Warner are kind-hearted, and not good at words, and sometimes we don't speak well, but don't get me wrong. Bonnie Bernal blushed and nodded, and I breathed a sigh of relief, worthy of me. The next second, I saw her gently unzip her clothes and look at me, with silky eyes. Len Arnold, thank you for your hard work. Mom, what's going on? Help me. I was immediately shocked, and quickly buttoned up the heroine's clothes, and was 800 meters away from her. Bonnie Bernal, I just came at Egbert Warner's request. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to. Bonnie Bernal's eyes widened, and her black and white eyeballs reddened as she looked at me. You're the first man to do that to me, Len Arnold. You've taken good care of me since day one, and I've done everything I can to stay in the company except for Grandma. It's because of you. Alarm bells in my heart. It's over. Isn't the heroine taking a fancy to me? Just when I was at a loss, Boss Egbert Warner finally found me. His eyes widened, and he pointed at Bonnie Bernal, and then at me. You kid, you recruited her in just to pick up girls without me. It's over. And the heroine Bonnie Bernal seems to have taken a fancy to me. Although I am dissolute by nature and love freedom, I never wanted the heroine to fall in love with me. I was shocked, and immediately looked at the boss Egbert Warner, and waved his hand frantically. Egbert Warner, no, I don't, I really don't. Egbert Warner, the boss, darkened his face, and the expression on his face was a little more displeased. Len Arnold, let me tell you, our company can't have office romances. Bonnie Bernal looked at Egbert Warner, the boss, with red eyes. Egbert Warner, I'm no longer an employee of your company. You can't break us up. Len Arnold and I really love each other. I jump on my feet. Not, I really love each other. I don't have it. I immediately swore an oath. Egbert Warner, I am loyal to you, and I have absolutely no liking for Bonnie Bernal. Egbert Warner, the boss, snorted coldly. Who knows what you kid has in his heart? Why don't you hurry up and follow me? I was taken away by the boss and left the crying heroine. As soon as I came out of the heroine's sight, the boss looked at me sadly. Len Arnold, I didn't expect you to have such a bad eye. You've been with me for years, so how can you fall in love with an incapable vase like Bonnie Bernal? Egbert Warner was devoted to his career, and the most despised was the vase of Bonnie Bernal's beauty. I'm enlightened. Maybe the boss didn't like Bonnie Bernal in the first place, and with his own encouragement, the boss would be able to he with Bonnie Bernal. I hummed and laughed. Egbert Warner, that's what you don't know. There are many other sides of the heroine Bonnie Bernal that you haven't seen. Egbert Warner, what? She's Ultramantiga. I shook my head slowly, because this is not only a simple little yellow text, but also the vest text of the heroine's multiple vests. I brought Egbert Warner, the boss, to the place where the heroine was squatting. Egbert Warner, you wait and see. The second child will appear in view and be slapped in the face. I am convinced of this. According to the custom, the second daughter's fake daughter appeared with the heroine's biological mother, Bernal's housewife. And Bernal's housemother would soon find out that Bonnie Bernal was her biological daughter. What are you talking about? Egbert Warner had a cold face. The Bernal family group has no daughters. Only one Bernal young master, Murray Bernal. I was shocked. What? Forget it. It's not a big problem. There is no second female, and the second males are similar. Master Murray Bernal showed up with the Bernal housewife, who was handsome and looked a little impatient. He stepped forward slowly, and went up and slapped the heroine Bonnie Bernal. Don't get in the way. I saw it so clearly. The heroine was clearly standing 180 meters away, and Murray Bernal was worthy of being a vicious male second, deliberately looking for fault with me. Then Bonnie Bernal should throw out his vest. Crazy slap in the face of the male too. Who knew that the heroine Bonnie Bernal obediently stepped aside, and she didn't even refute it. Yes, stand up. Egbert Warner behind me snorted softly, and tugged at the corner of my coat unpleasantly behind me. The mud can't hold up the wall. This is mocking the heroine. I hurriedly made up for it. No, Egbert Warner, this is a retreat. You see, Bonnie Bernal will go back in the face in another way. Looking at my determined and wise eyes, Egbert Warner gave me a cold look. I don't believe it. I cursed in my heart. Murray Bernal was also anxious. He pointed at the heroine Bonnie Bernal, and gritted his teeth. You have to apologize to me. Immediately. Immediately. The heroine, Bonnie Bernal, is astonishingly recognizable. I'm sorry. I'm in a hurry. How is this different from the development of the plot? Shouldn't the heroine go back? Murray Bernal was also anxious. It's useless for you to just apologize. Oh, you have to kneel down before me, before I can forgive you. That's what the vicious supporting characters say. The heroine Bonnie Bernal should be slapped in the face. I clenched my little fists and repeated, Egbert Warner, wait and see. Bonnie Bernal didn't slap her face. She plopped and knelt down for Murray Bernal. That's not right. This plot development is not like this. I couldn't take it anymore, and jumped out. How can you get Bonnie Bernal to kneel for you? It's too much. Are you the young master of the Bernal family group? Can you do whatever you want? Murray Bernal looked at me, with a puzzled look and muttered quietly, affectionate licking dog male too. What's that? I frowned tightly, and it took me a long time to squeeze out a dry little tentative sentence. The boss sky-high little wife. Murray Bernal's eyes widened. Len Arnold. I clenched my fists, a wealthy fake daughter and a vicious female partner. Murray Bernal was so grateful that he almost shed snot and tears. Oh dear. Originally, it was like this, but I don't know what's going on. I have become a vicious male partner and a fake young master, and I am forced to take the route of a vicious female partner. I was so moved that just as we had almost forgotten the occasion, and were about to shake each other's hands, Egbert Warner behind me choked violently. Len Arnold, do you know? I immediately jumped out of the way and started coughing frantically. No, 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 no. Then I turned my head, and saw the heroine staring at me, with tears in her eyes. Len Arnold, how did you end up here? Are you worried about me? So you came here with me? Bonnie Bernal said as she spoke, and the expression on her face became a little more red, and she looked at me, with affection and sincerity in her eyes. I wiped a cold sweat and waved back at Bonnie Bernal. Pure passing. Pure passing. Murray Bernal looked at me and then at the heroine, revealing an emoji of the melon-eating crowd. Bonnie Bernal looked at me, with a red face and said softly, I knew you had me in your heart. Murray Bernal's eyes widened for a long time. Awesome. Murray Bernal is going to go through the plot, and he's still waiting for himself to be slapped in the face. I had to be a demon next to me. No one can come today. You have to get down on my knees. I winked at Egbert Warner. Go, go. It's Egbert Warner's turn to save the beauty. However, Egbert Warner, the boss of the tyrant, crossed his arms and stood to the side coldly, eyes are convulsed. He ignored me, even turned on the computer screen, and started working on the spot. Oh no, nothing is important about your work. Good guys, worthy of workaholics. It's useless for me to be in a hurry. And at the critical moment, Mrs. Bernal successfully connected to the line. Her eyes widened. Oh my God, you have a red mole on your hand, and you are my long-lost daughter. Bonnie Bernal frowned. Where do I have a red? Murray Bernal didn't give Bonnie Bernal a chance to speak. He jumped out first. Mom, what? She's your own daughter. So what about me? You have raised me for so many years. Is it possible that I am not your son? It's so disgusting that I'm being adopted. Murray Bernal stomped his foot in a playful manner. Humph, I won't let you go, Bonnie Bernal. You took my home. You've robbed me of my position. Wait and see. After he finished his lines in a majestic manner, he was about to turn around and run away immediately. Unexpectedly, Bonnie Bernal held him down. Wait a minute, did you misunderstand? I can't be the daughter of the Bernal family, the old lady, and the young master. I can't be. Murray Bernal also hesitated when he saw Mrs. Bernal's face, for fear that his role would be crooked. But what is it? You still have to pretend to be kind, and say that you are not here to deceive my mother's sympathy. Right, I tell you, no way. Humph, don't quibble. I've seen through your little tricks. Murray Bernal snapped up and hugged Bonnie Bernal. My dear daughter, you are my own daughter in exile. You have suffered outside for so many years. Say it, my precious daughter. I can fulfill any wish you have. Don't worry, although this sounds like a magic conch, it finally makes the heroine recognize her ancestors and return to her ancestors. I smiled super sweetly, waiting for the heroine to say her wish, but I never expected that Bonnie Bernal suddenly blushed, followed the crowd, and pointed at me. I want him. Before I could jump my feet, Egbert Warner, the boss behind me who was working indifferently, jumped more violently than me. Len Arnold is my man. You want I don't allow. Oh no, I was taken by the heroine Bonnie Bernal. I never expected that Bonnie Bernal would fight boss Egbert Warner for me. I've put up with you for a long time, Egbert Warner. I was startled and looked sharply at my boss, and boss behind me. A look of gloom and irritation swept across his handsome face. Len Arnold was originally my man. We grew up together. Are you a ball? When I was bathing in the same bathhouse as Len Arnold. You weren't born yet, I swear. It was washed by the room. The sky can be seen. I definitely did not meet the boss naked. Murray Bernal next to me winked at me, and he poked me. What's going on? I frowned. Maybe it's a happy enemy. I see. This is the joy of the enemy. Before I could grin sweetly, I saw Bonnie Bernal slap Egbert Warner in the face. Len Arnold is human, not your servant. It's not enough for you to call Len Arnold every day at work. You have to call him out there too. You're not a good person. Bonnie Bernal leaned on the presence of Mrs. Bernal behind her, and she crossed her waist. Since I have become the daughter of the Bernal family, I am going to buy Len Arnold from you. Len Arnold is mine from now on. Murray Bernal and I watched boss Egbert Warner's muscles bulge, and Murray Bernal also realized. He smiled contemptuously and muttered in a low voice in my ear, I know. The next thing must be the male protagonist who said, oh woman, you are the first woman who dares to hit me, and you have successfully attracted my attention. I began to solid up with a beam. Then the heroine is angry. The male protagonist chases. The female protagonist escapes. He chases her and escapes. And then they are all winged and unable to fly. I didn't have long to be happy. When I watched the boss Egbert Warner snap, and close the computer and angrily scolded Bonnie Bernal, the one who dares to rob Lao Tzu. You are looking for death. Call the police. Yes. No. You were the first woman to hit me. Why is it gone? Wrong. Why did the male protagonist call the police? Bonnie Bernal was educated by the police for a long time, before she promised not to be rude again. When I was released, Egbert Warner grabbed me by the collar. Let me go. I won't be allowed to appear in front of Bonnie Bernal in the future. But Bonnie Bernal still. Is she your boss or am I your boss? Does she pay you, or do I pay you? I thought about it, and for the sake of money, I got into the luxury sports car of the boss very aggrieved. When Egbert Warner got into the car, his gaze swept over me. Len Arnold, how do I treat you? I smiled wryly. Good. You're very nice to me. Very well. Why do you keep forcibly matching me and Bonnie Bernal? His piercing peach eyes locked on me like an eagle, and I was so startled that I almost choked on myself. This, you found out. You're so wise. Don't be a sycophant. Let me tell you, Len Arnold, I'm on the rise in my career. What I want to do is to expand the size of the company, appreciate the company's stock market share, and go public in a year, 2 years of transnational, shortlisted for Forbes for 3 years, instead of wasting time with women and falling in love. When Mr. Ba talked about his career, his eyes lit up, and he had the ambition to devote himself to his career. Only my heart is cold. It's over. It's really a career hero, and it can't be saved. What male lead? No, nothing. I was trembling and wondering what would happen if the book was B, when I got a call from Egbert Warner's own mother. Len Arnold, I've heard that a woman touched Egbert Warner, and it didn't give him goosebumps. I thought about it for a moment before I remembered that Bonnie Bernal had slapped Egbert Warner. Old lady, you are really wise. And that woman is Bonnie Bernal. I finished pouring beans, and Egbert Warner looked at me sharply, as if I was going to eat me raw. I spoke word by word under tremendous pressure. Well, Bonnie Bernal slapped Egbert Warner. No, I didn't expect Egbert Warner to send someone to the police station. My stupid son, Len Arnold. You've been with Egbert Warner since you were a child. Why don't you help him? You can't let go of such a good woman. If you let go, no woman will be able to take a fancy to Egbert Warner. The old lady waved her hand exaggeratedly, but it's okay. I'll prepare for the wedding. Since a woman can meet Egbert Warner, it proves that my Warner family has a queen. That's great. It's absolutely not okay. And the smile on my face hasn't been squeezed out yet. Egbert Warner said coldly, Mom, I'm busy with the company's affairs, and I won't get married. Before the old lady could finish speaking, Egbert Warner had already hung up the phone quickly. He looked at me menacingly. I hurriedly shook my head. No, I didn't tell you. Egbert Warner, you have a lot of them. Spare the small ones. I never thought that the dignified boss Egbert Warner, or the male lead, ran away from marriage. As soon as the old lady and the Bernal family group got in touch, both parties hit it off happily, and the old lady wanted to compensate Bonnie Bernal. Bonnie Bernal was glad to think that the man she was going to marry was me, Len Arnold. Under the clever mouth of Marie Bernal and the old lady, she didn't even hesitate, and happily agreed. The old lady felt that everything was ready, and she only owed her son, and the son didn't matter. Just catch it and get married when the time came. Unexpectedly, on the eve of marriage, boss Egbert Warner ran away from marriage for the cause he loved. By the way, in order to have a perfect robot to take care of his diet and daily life, he picked me up. Egbert Warner, your coffee. I grabbed my coffee and brought it to Egbert Warner's computer in a frustrated manner. By the way, pretending to be unconsciously chatting about family life, he assists on the side. Egbert Warner, don't you miss home? You can't keep hiding like this. Old lady is afraid she'll have to worry about it, I muttered, and Egbert Warner turned his head to stare at me. Where are you and Bonnie Bernal? Why didn't she marry you? I hurriedly waved my hand. No, I have nowhere to. Egbert Warner looked at me with an unteachable expression. Listen to my advice. Women are beasts. You need success and a career. Don't let stupid love affect you. Good guy. Still a sober workaholic. I couldn't persuade Egbert Warner, and Murray Bernal was also in a hurry, and he sent me messages urging me to bring the male protagonist back quickly. I shook my head. This guy can't be dissuaded. You can't tell the male protagonist that it's good to be in love. Love comes first. Yes. Take him to watch a few more love movies. I'll hear it. Makes sense. So I tried hard to get Egbert Warner to turn off the computer and then grin, and come up to the proposal. Egbert Warner, you've been working all day, so let's relax and watch a movie. Egbert Warner snorted. Yes. I happily opened the movie selection of the hotel and clicked on the romance movie, intending to stimulate the love value in the heart of the boss Egbert Warner. Unexpectedly, the hotel's little movie is a real little movie. The romance movie also comes with a bit of action direction. The next moment I opened it and saw it, my face turned white. I turned off the movie and turned my head around, and Egbert Warner looked at my expression thoughtfully. Do you usually watch this kind of little movie? My heart chuckled. Ruined. My reputation is finished. And at that moment, I can't wait to pull out the Disney castle and leave this beautiful world on a rocket. To alleviate the embarrassment, I rolled on the ground and rolled into a ball. Well, Egbert Warner, I have something to do. I'll go first. The bad thing about Egbert Warner, who only brought me to serve people, was that he could only call me one for something. For example, after he got up lazily and went to the bathroom, he had to call me alone when there was something. Egbert Warner, bath towel. When I respectfully brought the bath towel to him, Mr. Boss slowly walked out of the bathroom wrapped in a bath towel. His handsome eyes slowly fell on me. What are you doing? Go in and take a bath. I panicked so much that I almost didn't jump. No, no. Egbert Warner looked me up and down coldly. Are you going to take care of me here for days without showering? I don't want a stinking butler. I almost forgot. The male protagonist is really self-taught in this aspect of slamming the door. He even slammed the door so much that he only opened one room. In the name of beauty, everyone is a man. What are you afraid of? I tried to keep my composure and said dryly, then I'll go back when you're rested. Before I could finish my words, I was dragged into the bathroom by Mr. Baugh, long-winded. We washed together when we were kids. Why are you chirping now? I looked at my short hair in the mirror with a hard mouth. When I was a child, I was a child. But now it's different, when I grow up. Egbert Warner pursed his lips and smiled slightly. How is it different now? He reached out and knocked me on the head. Hurry up and take a shower. It's dirty. I embarrassedly slipped into the bathroom and locked the door to make sure the door-slamming bully couldn't see it before I dared to take a shower carefully. When he came out, he saw Egbert Warner sitting in front of the computer, yawning. He was a workaholic, working all the time. And when he saw me come out, Egbert Warner's lips lifted a smile. I couldn't tell you before. You're thinner than me, little arms and legs. He landed on my slender calf, still fighting, and said, thin dog. The taunt was full. I clenched my fists, and I endured. The end of running away from marriage with the president of the door is that he is forced to squeeze into a bed at night. Asking is what he knocks on. I stopped talking on the edge of the bed. Egbert Warner, I won't grieve you, or I'll open another room. How much do you make a month? It's only over 10,000. Are you so arrogant? Men have to pursue a little bit. Egbert Warner interrupted me with a cold snort, then patted the edge of the bed beside him generously. Sleep here. But, Egbert Warner, it's not appropriate. Egbert Warner glanced up at me. Then you sleep on the floor. I looked at the cold floor, then at the warm bed, and said, okay, I'll sleep in the bed. Unprincipled. I lay next to the boss, curled up like a ball. I thought I would spend the night in peace. Before going to bed, Murray Burnell was still pouting me about how to persuade the boss to accept Bonnie Burnell. Who knows? In the middle of the night, Mr. Baugh reached out and fished me into his arms. It wasn't until I realized that I had been fished into a solid chest full of male hormones that I realized, holy, I was about to reach out and push the boss away. But Egbert Warner reflexively pressed my entire head into his arms, and rubbed my hair like a small toy. Don't make a noise. He spoke sleepily. I was excited. Egbert Warner, wake up. I'm your steward. Mr. Baugh left a lamp before going to bed. As I struggled, I saw the enlarged handsome face, and opened my eyes and looked at me sleepily. His handsome thin lips whispered softly, and he leaned close to me, and kissed me on the cheek steadily. I know. I instantly felt like a dead fish possessed, so stunned that I could only stare at my boss in front of me with wide eyes. Egbert Warner, who was on the other side, completely opened his sultry peach blossom eyes, and whispered around me, Len Arnold. This time I heard it clearly. His voice was clear. He didn't look sleepy. He pretended to be asleep. No way. I've never seen such shameless. Guess what? Why I don't like women. My heart was pounding. My brain was not on the line, and I was a little confused. Because you're a phobia. The man across from me let out a chuckle from his thin lips, and he stared at me, like a cat that had been caught in the net. Is it possible because I like men? My mouth opened in an O shape. I scolded in my heart. It's over. Why didn't you say it earlier? I was tricked into escaping by my unscrupulous boss, and am currently forced to sleep in the same bed. The most dangerous thing is that the shameless boss, on the other side, also circled me, and told me very seriously that he likes men. I shook into chaff, and I miss Murray Burnell so much at this moment. Help! Urgent! Who can save me? The man on the other side looked very dangerous. And he's still talking. Len Arnold, don't you see anything? Egbert Warner stared at me with a serious stance. My voice trembled. What do you see, Egbert Warner? If you like men, I'll get in touch with you right now. I reached for my phone at the bedside and thought about it. Only Murray Burnell was the best fit for the full text. Murray Burnell, I have to sacrifice you. I frowned and was about to call Murray Burnell when Egbert Warner, who was next to me, grabbed my hand violently. Len Arnold, I like you. I trembled and stretched out my hand. Hey, Egbert Warner, I'm deaf. I can't hear. Egbert Warner snorted softly and leaned into my ear. I said, I like you. Seeing that I was still sluggish, Egbert Warner chuckled softly. I've liked you since I was 3 years old. He tapped me on the forehead, bowed his head and gently put it on, and dropped a kiss. I froze and repeated little by little what Egbert Warner said not long ago. Egbert Warner, don't you want to be listed in 1 year, 2 years in Cross-Border, and 3 years in Forbes, instead of wasting time with women and falling in love? He chuckled. You're not a woman. I immediately smiled and rolled off the bed. I'm sorry, Egbert Warner. What? I'm a woman. Egbert Warner's face really changed. There was a hint of hesitation on his handsome face, and he paused, and it took a long time before he finally spoke, looking at me. Are you serious? Yes, Egbert Warner, I'm a woman. I stepped back into the corner and looked at Egbert Warner in a loud voice. What I didn't expect was the reaction of boss Egbert Warner. His thin lips curled slightly, and then he gave me a very tender look. That's right, Lady Len Arnold. And I still need a lady to take care of my entire business. I let out an "Ah, would you rather?" I kept back, but I could only touch the wall. I looked at Egbert Warner with a shudder. Egbert Warner, what do you say? What's the situation? Why is this environment so much like a marriage proposal? I cleaved at the wall in disbelief, and Egbert Warner on the other side was already slowly speaking. After becoming my wife, my tens of billions of assets will be handed over to my wife, and all this money will be transferred to my wife intact. According to my current income, I can earn 3 million an hour, and I have an interest income of 100 million per month, and the total company income is 365 a year. Yes, I do. My brain and mouth were different, and I didn't even have time to think about it, before my mouth was dizzy from the huge amount of money. Damn, a lot of money. I didn't react until I finished saying yes. It's over. What did you just promise? Extra. I'm Egbert Warner, the boss who is in charge of the lifeblood of the entire Warner family. I own a company that is incredibly rich and has operations all over the world. But I've not been happy lately. I was diagnosed with a phobia of women when I was 3 years old, so my family caught a 3-year-old housekeeper overnight to grow up with me. Len Arnold can be said to be my bamboo horse. I've never liked anything, but I fell in love with it when I saw that little bean bag. This kid is much cuter than me. He can cry and laugh. He will babble and please me. He will make sycophants at the age of 3, please the whole family at the age of 4, and use the best words in the world on me at the age of 5. I'm the boss. I want everything, and I'm gradually getting a strange skill that I can hear from Len Arnold, the butler my age. She often has strange thoughts, and she mutters about what to wear books every day. Len Arnold doesn't know how good-looking she is. She likes to laugh and smile sweetly at girls. So since she was 3 years old, many girls have been giving Len Arnold love letters and secretly confessing. Makes me angry enough. I use my phobia to blow up all the warblers around Len Arnold. When I was a little older, I found that it was called possessiveness. Len Arnold is not just my butler. She must be my person in the future. It doesn't matter if she's a man or a woman. She's going to be my person for the rest of her life. But Len Arnold was like and no matter how much I told her, she didn't seem to know that I liked her. What's even more outrageous is that since Bonnie Burnell came along, Len Arnold has been grinning around me every day, and his mind is full of male and female protagonists. Even when I blew Bonnie Burnell away, she was still trying to match me and Bonnie Burnell. What made me even angrier was that Bonnie Burnell's stupid woman had a crush on Len Arnold. No one can snatch Len Arnold away from me. What a bullshit heroine. Give Lao Tzu death. I brought Len Arnold out by running away from marriage, intending to show the idiot what I wanted for her. I didn't expect her to be so stupid that I had to express it bluntly. Thankfully, I know Len Arnold very well. In addition to her love to read and wear books, she also likes money. I was desperately trying to make money just to get the money to coax her into taking the bait one day. The stupid guy happily agreed, and after agreeing, she reacted and wanted to regret it. But I retorted fiercely. Len Arnold became my wife in the Warner family, and she and that Murray Burnell looked depressed. Bonnie Burnell, that bastard, even wants to steal the marriage. It's really hateful that I didn't give up after being blasted out by me, and wanted to hook up with my stupid wife twice in 3 days. It wasn't until my dear wife made it clear to her that she was a woman that Bonnie Burnell stopped talking about being my wife's best friend. Hey, I'm not going to let Bonnie Burnell get any closer to my wife again. At the end of the story, of course, I succeeded in marrying the stupid wife I had been secretly in love with since I was a child. My future Warner family ruler. My dearest lady. The end.